I didn't think it would be happening until the very end of the series, but Hyakkimaru officially comes face to face with Big Papa Daigo. Crazy ladies, rice balls, and fox demons. Oh my, this was another intense and super awesome episode of Dororo, an episode where Hyakkimaru finally comes face to face with his very own destiny. I'm gonna go ahead and put up that spoiler warning right now. Make sure to go check out this episode and then come back to this review. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in. This was a really intense episode as Hyakkimaru not only got to meet his brother at the very beginning of the episode, Tahomaru, but at the very end, he finally comes face to face with his father Daigo, and to say that the tension is thick would be an understatement. This entire episode was basically a journey through the land of Daigo, and getting to see that while they are a very prosperous place, they are being plagued with no rain and lots of creepy demons who have attached themselves to a cursed wooden wall. This episode was certainly interesting as that not only was it moving the story along, but they still managed to wedge in a Monster of the Week style story about this giant cursed wall that the Asakura clan has been basically killing people with. They've essentially had any intruder who goes near the wall pinned to it with their arrows, and eventually it just builds up its demonic power, drawing in all sorts of crazy demons, in particular one visually looking awesome one, which is a group of fire foxes, which can actually combine into one massive entity, effectively transforming it into the nine-tailed fox. Does Hyakkimaru fight it? Does it look awesome? Yes, on both counts. But even with all that, you completely forget about it because really, this entire episode is about Hyakkimaru's very first confrontation with his father, which is not so much a confrontation as it is the two characters simply staring at one another. But it's a pretty big deal, as in the span of basically a single episode, Hyakkimaru has already become familiar with his family, even though he probably doesn't know who they are, but he can definitely feel a lot of demonic energy actually coming from his father. In fact, when he sees him for the first time at the very end of the episode, his actual soul is a mixture of gray and red, showing that he's sort of been infected by the power of the demons. And this has got to be kind of conflicting for Hyakkimaru, as he doesn't quite know how to assess the situation. Of course, we know that Daigo is officially out for blood, and he is determined to kill his illegitimate son at any cost, especially because it's the only way that apparently he's going to be able to save his dying land. That being said, most of this episode just followed Hyakkimaru and Dororo as they were going around Daigo's village and sort of enjoying the finer things in life, which is basically rice balls and goofy Japanese plays. We even get to see that just like every other town in the world, there's a crazy drunk in it, and this is one of the few situations when you probably want to listen to that random drunk, because it's this woman who apparently is ranting about the fact that Daigo used to have a son. She knows that Daigo gave up his very first son, gave him to demons, and he lost all of his body parts. She even cradles like this baby in her arms, which is not actually a baby at all, it's just a blood-soaked rock. Really though, what's interesting about this woman is that she actually knows all of these finer details, and I'm guessing that she was one of the handmaidens or she was present when Hyakkimaru was actually born. Throughout the episode, you can see that Tahomaru is investigating all of this, trying to learn what his father is truly after, and he even meets Hyakkimaru at the very beginning of the episode, and he's mostly just sort of entranced by his eyes and his presence, and the fact that this dude just took down a giant monster crab with virtually no help at all. He's intrigued by the character, but he still doesn't quite know who he is. And I really hope that the character of Tahomaru is not going to go down the dark path and end up becoming sort of like the villain of the series. Whereas Daigo truly is the bad guy, I have a feeling that Tahomaru is going to be infected by his evil nature. I'd really like to see the two brothers actually team up, and I'd like to see him have a little bit of sympathy for the fact that his long-lost older brother was abandoned when he was younger, but I have a feeling he is probably going to be corrupted in that Star Wars-y Sith kind of way. And in that sense, it is going to be kind of disappointing. But yeah, this entire episode is completely defined all by Hyakkimaru meeting his family for the very first time. I really can't wait to see if he's actually going to interact with his mother, as I feel that's going to bring a large amount of emotion to the series, and we're actually going to see Hyakkimaru, well, actually emote. I will say it is great to finally see him start casually talking just a little bit more, as again, it humanizes the character and it allows the viewer to get more attached to him. However, all of that's probably going to go out the window in the next episode as he goes on a bloody rampage against Daigo and his men. Or maybe it'll go in a completely opposite direction. direction. I don't know. I'm just pumped to see what's gonna happen. So, what's the rundown on this episode of Dororo? Yes, a very simple episode, but one that definitely served its purpose in building up to what might be actually the finale of the series. I know that this is supposed to be a 24-episode series, but I don't know if they're gonna go directly to the end or if they're gonna separate it by season, and we're gonna get the next half later on in the year. But it seems like they're actually building up to some sort of finale, or at least a point where things are definitely going to amplify in a really big way. And I honestly didn't expect it all to happen so fast. I mean, this episode just flew by with the amount of content that it was actually giving the viewer, and also doing a great job of showing that while Daigo himself is kind of an evil guy, he is sort of like played off the village to make him seem like he's this legendary figure who's defeated demons and brought prosperity to the land. If they only knew that this guy had no problem with allowing his kids to be eaten by demons when they're newborn babies, they would probably look at him in a completely different light. I think the biggest weakness of this episode was the entire side story of this like giant demonic wall, which to me just kind of bored me, to be perfectly honest. There was nothing special about it outside of seeing the Firefox demons, which were probably the most visually distinctive demons that we've seen throughout the entire series, taking on a more ghostly presence, and them actually combining into a nine-tailed fox was pretty awesome, and watching Hyakkimaru battle them was cool, but again, it just kind of felt derivative when compared to the other parts of the story, which ultimately were a lot more interesting. The good thing is we're not going to have to wait that much longer. We're going to get more of that in the next episode of the series, and that is a reason to get excited. That being said, I actually did really enjoy this episode despite some of its faults, but it really has just got me pumped up to see what the next part of the story is going to deliver, and that's why I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. You guys need to check it out, but if any of you did watch it, of course, I'd love to get your thoughts on it, and you can tell me all of them in the comment section below, and please tell me what you hope to see in the first major confrontation between Hyakkimaru and his father Daigo. Will Tahumaru intervene? Will an epic battle happen? Let's get your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down now, baby.